Oh man, but
Wow.
we're about to get into this real talk segment with me, your host Stace, and I got my husband with me. I got Randy P.
What's going
I got
on?
Stu Baby,
Yeah.
and I got the author of Dear Future Wife: A Man's Guide and a Woman's Reference to Healthy Relationships. We got Bashea Williams in the studio with us.
B-Dub in the
How
club.
y'all
You on
doing?
with the husband, brother?
man?
Yeah,
Glad
glad to be here.
man.
Glad to be here.
Yeah,
Appreciate it,
man.
Appreciate it.
Listen, man, I was able to read some of your book.
Okay.
And you know, I want to let you talk about it first. I want to let you talk about it because, for one thing, I wasn't able to read the whole thing.
Right.
And it's different when you hear the author talk about it. You know, sometimes when you're reading, you may get a perspective, and I think that we have the advantage of having you here.
Right.
You know, to talk about it. But tell us about yourself for one.
Okay.
Because I know you got a lot of letters behind your name. You know what I'm saying? So you qualified.
Yeah.
You know what
I'm
he's talking about.
Qualified,
And
yeah.
then tell us
Yeah.
about the book and what led you to write it.
Okay. So I'm Paul Bashea Williams. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in Maryland and D.C.
All right.
So I'm in private practice. I own my private practice, Hearts and Mind Counseling.
Okay.
I work with a lot of African-American males, couples, individuals, boys from, I think my youngest is 5, my oldest is
Really?
76.
Wow. 76,
So
huh?
wide range. So I have a lot of couples in my practice.
Wow.
So I went to school for social work because I know it's diverse. So I can do pretty much anything. I work policy. I can be in therapy. I can work for child welfare. I can do a variety of things. But I chose to be in private practice to work with couples in our community. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, it makes me. Are you connected with Black Therapists Rock?
Yeah, I'm in there.
Okay, all right,
I used to be on a TV show. So we used to host a TV show for about a year. We did that.
Yeah.
It's all right.
At over in
Yeah, down there around the way.
Yeah.
Down there far away
So
from
you-
Atlanta.
It was down in Atlanta.
So
down in Atlanta.
did you came through when we were over there? then?
Probably.
Yeah, because that was on the tail end of us leaving. For all the people
Okay.
who was rocking with us back
In the day.
in the old days when we first started. Because, in fact, I think we were the connect for Black Therapists Rock.
Oh,
over
really?
there. Yeah,
Okay.
because I had Darren.
Duran?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can't. It's been so long. since
Sorry.
but she's been here too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but she's doing her thing, man.
Yeah,
I like rocking with Black Therapists Rock because she always sends me great folks, man. And when you talking about dealing with people from 5 to, you said 76.
Yeah, 76.
We said,
Wow.
man, we gotta find ways. We gotta find ways to have conversation with you more because when we talk about mental health is something that we want to make a regular thread of our show,
Okay.
just because so many Black men need it. Which I got a
Right.
crazy story about that. And then the relationship piece, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
But tell us about what made you write the book.
So actually, when I was in college, so I had this idea that I was gonna go to college, I was gonna find my wife, I was
Yep.
gonna graduate, and then all that was gonna happen. This beautiful scene on the picket fence, the White House, all that good stuff, and then here I am, the first person I meet, I was like, oh, that's my wife. So I'm operating at 18,
Yeah, I
thinking,
operated
Yeah, I
that
did
way.
that.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
even
I'm
world-
thinking like-
Dwayne Wayne.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
right.
like, I had it in my mind.
I was
too.
selling myself dreams.
Yeah,
so it wasn't
yeah.
really about anybody else. So, but the relationship failed. So I was like, you know what? Everybody in college is kind of doing their own thing. It's not safe out here. Let me just kind of whatever feelings I have that are true, that are dedicated to my wife, I want to put it on paper. Because paper don't write back. I mean, paper don't hurt.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
paper don't
Yeah,
disappoint.
you wrote that in the book.
Yeah,
That's right.
so-
You
so
said-
I could
you
just
said
put
you
it
could
down.
just erase it.
Yeah, if I don't
Yeah.
like it, I erase it. If that's
Yeah,
not my
yeah.
true feeling, I erase it. So that's when I started writing these letters about different things when it comes to relationships, every aspect of relationships. And then it turned to people asking me questions about relationships. And then it turned into like the clinical aspect and clinical understanding of relationships, working with couples. So I just wrote it from a clinical perspective, but also being in a place where people can relate to it. So if something was popping on Facebook or social media, I would turn that into a letter, like a response, like I think it was like, who comes first? Does the wife come first out of the baby mother, the wife, the child, or the mother? So I turned that into a letter.
Meaning that man's mother.
Right.
Yo, that's real. though.
Right.
Like, that's-
So
ooh.
I wrote that on Facebook, and it got shared 50,000 times. So I was like, I'm on to something. So I just put that in the book. So it's everything about relationships that's in this book. So that's what got me to write it. It started out as a blog, but I was like, I'm going to turn it into a book because I can do things with it.
Yeah. How, like, real time? In real time when women are reading this book, because if I remember correctly, the book is you're writing letters to women from a man's perspective, right? How are Okay, who's responding to it, and how are they responding to it? And I'm asking this for a specific reason.
Right. So it's two aspects of that. It might seem like I'm just writing to women, but I've interviewed men.
Okay,
I've interviewed single men. I've interviewed divorced men. I interviewed husbands in this book, and I tagged them in there, and I wrote there, and I whatever gave them copyright or whatever to say that this is their perspective as well. So as a man's perspective, the things that we go through, we might not be able to communicate. So if I put it on Facebook, if I put it out in the public, a woman will respond.
Right.
But a man will say something in the DMs like, "Yo, I didn't know how to say that, but you showed me how to say that." So I've been in public spaces where a dude will come up to me and be like, "Yo, I saw what you wrote. Thank you. Like this is what I needed to say to my wife. I wasn't able to articulate these words to who I needed to articulate it to."
Yeah. See, I feel like I'm articulate though, right?
Okay.
But I'm articulate, right? I feel like I'm pretty articulate, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
But sometimes it need to be somebody else that says it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like for me, it's like, hey, look, hey, check that right there. I highlighted that for you. Did you
Right.
see that
wow.
there? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I want to know who's responding. Because like I said, I didn't get a chance to read through the entire thing and hear what the voices of other men in there, but I can see how somebody would come to you on the low and say, "Hey man, I'm glad you said that because you said I can't articulate it." For me, it's like, could I say that? Just straight up say that?
Right.
Could I straight up say that to her? I don't know. Is it like that for you? Like can you
I
just
would
straight
say-
up say certain things?
I would say early on in our marriage, no.
Wow.
I would say early
Right.
on in our marriage, no. I would say like when we first got married, and we were young. We were 24 when we got married.
Okay.
And so when we got married, it was a thing of my wife, her filter was like, if she didn't like something, she was gonna tell me something. You know, she was gonna say, "I don't like this." Like I remember I cooked dinner one time, and I really thought I made the best dinner ever. She came home. She looked at the dinner. She made herself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'll never forget it. And she said, I'm not eating that." And she went upstairs and closed the door.
Oh,
I was
man.
crushed, but I think
But did
now,
you crush her? That's disrespect.
Okay,
just
we'll talk about that at 10.
playing.
But now she would say, "Oh, honey, thanks for making this, but I don't know if I want to eat this tonight." That's
Right.
it's a difference. So going back to what you were saying, like if I could have said something earlier, to her, like I would say, "Hey, maybe like not have a little bit more of a filter with me." You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually found a letter that I wrote 20 years ago.
Oh, really?
Stop it. Really?
You want me to read it?
Please.
Man, this joke might get emotional, but
Please don't
Go
cry.
ahead, let it out.
dear future
Please
wife,
don't cry. It's gonna be funny.
I love sex, especially with you.
Okay.
You got a big butt
Okay.
and big breasts.
Okay.
Everything I like.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
almost done.
Okay.
I'm trying to focus on my man's book. You about
know-
to read a book?
Well, I'm saying he wrote letters. I wrote letters too.
So we got a chapter about sex in there too.
You do.
So,
It's called real sex, right?
Yeah, it's called love sex.
Oh, love sex. That's
yeah,
right. Love
love
that
sex.
sex. Not really. Explain
Yeah,
that though.
love
Talk about that
sex.
chapter.
So what that is, we talk about love sex. So it's love hyphen sex. So
Okay.
it's not just I'm loving sex. It's like I want to have the love before I get sex. I want to build something before I just lay down with you. So I can create this fantasy, but I want to be the fantasy with my wife. Like I don't want to just have my body count all over the place.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to
shut
have.
up.
Yeah, I don't want to just touch everybody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't want to just touch everybody, but I love sex, but I want to have the love with the sex.
How do people respond to you saying, "I don't want to have that body count"? What's the response? What's the response when you say it? Because I know we've talked about body count on this show. I feel a certain way about it. He does too. But people have opinions. They have very defined opinions when it comes to that. But what do you say? Or what is the response you give when you talk about the body
Well, if
count?
we talk about specifically about body count and we leave everything out, like why are we having a conversation about how many people have you been with? Like, what is the importance of that?
Agreed.
So if
Yes.
you need to know that as far as safety, like I need to know, and that deters me from getting into a relationship with you, then that's your personal preference. But if we just sitting there having a conversation about it, that's bleeding into your relationship.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
That's leading. Every time you lay down, you thinking about what that person, how many people that person's been with,
Yeah,
their
like
experiences and stuff like that. That's just, it's a
comparisons
setup.
and things like
yeah,
that.
it's a
But
setup.
I'm glad you said that that's your personal preference because I once said I wouldn't have picked a woman who had kids already. That ain't nothing against women who got kids. And listen, I don't want somebody who body count way out of that, but that's just personal.
Why would you have that conversation? Like, are you going? How do you have?
I'm not having that with her. It's just we were talking about that,
Okay.
and I'm saying that it's nothing wrong with having that as I think as one of you.
One of your questions.
That's
Come
one
on,
of,
bro.
no, that's one of your criteria. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people need to know that in advance. Some people ask those questions in advance.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So, like, what would you? So, in writing a book, what did you want the people who read it? What do you want them to get out of it?
I want them to get to know themselves. I want them to really heal from whatever they've been through. I want them to show up differently in relationships, like the healthy part of you. Like, know what you like, know what you don't like, know what you've been through, and know that it's not the cause or that's not going to determine how you act in a new relationship. So there's
That's
parts in
important.
it, and the perspective in it is like you really work on yourself. Like, there's a whole chapter said, I need to get ready for you. Like, dear future wife, I need to get ready for you. So every traumatic experience, everything that I thought was going to work, it didn't work. I'm not going to bring that into the relationship. Like, I'm going to really almost get emotionally, mentally naked to show up to meet this person so I can learn them and they can learn me.
That
So
takes
I'm not
maturity
awkward.
to do
Yeah,
that,
it
though.
does. It's
Like
work.
you literally will have to work on yourself because cause you were talking about in college, right?
Right.
Like I had that similar experience, but mine was if you go into a scenario where you like somebody or you're pursuing somebody and it doesn't work out, then you start being guarded, right?
Right.
So now I'm gonna go out and still have these many relationships, right? But I'm not, I'm protecting myself too. So now I'm protecting myself because I'm hurting you too, and then you
Right.
go all these things. You're not just gonna come out that situation and be like, all right, now I'm gonna come into this with a clean slate. Like you
Right.
really gotta go back and
Yeah.
unpack something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I did. Like, I
Yeah.
had to go and chill, and I had to block up. I wasn't getting in no relationship. Anything was serious, and if
Wow.
anything got close to it, I could set the reminder. Hey, I'm not ready for that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I had to, even though if you had a conversation with somebody prior to that, it doesn't mean anything. Once you get in the mix of things,
Wow.
feelings come
That's
up,
true.
conversations shift, and all that. So you really have to spend some time with yourself. And people are afraid to be alone for a while.
That's true.
They're afraid. Like, why are you afraid to be alone and get to know yourself and heal and do what you got to do so you can show up differently, have a different relationship, and really work on the things that you need to work on?
Yeah.
Man, I got-
What do you go ahead? I'm
I
sorry.
got a question about these women. Like, in your research and what you did with the book and everything like this, do women really want what they're saying?
I think they do. I think they do. But sometimes they don't know what they're saying.
Dang.
But I think that goes for both parts, though.
Preach,
That goes
preach.
for both parts. Like, we might just say, like, in this whole world of social media, we see, I want that. I want that microwave picture. I want that photo shoot. And that's exactly what you're looking at.
That's what it is.
I wanted to be treated right. I want somebody to wine and dine me, but you in position to receive the wine and the dining because you
Yeah.
get that and you're not connecting with them emotionally. Like, where you meeting them at? Are you meeting them halfway? Or you just in the positions like somebody trick on me, somebody take care of me, but you're not doing anything back?
See now. That's the thing. I think I like your book because, and I was telling Tara this before. You're a wonderful contact person. It's such an excellent job. I was talking to her about how I feel like a lot of women. There are more men like you and think like this than we put out there.
Right, right.
And but they just don't get the airtime. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like some dude talking sideways, or he got a song out and he saying a bunch of backwards crazy stuff. He gonna get more play than you.
Yeah.
He shouldn't, but he is, right? And
Tell it.
I feel like, gosh, that's so. I'm passionate about that. And it's making me get away from my point. But we were talking about women and what they want. I feel like.
Come on.
Go ahead.
I want
Just
to
start
drive.
going back.
I want
Just
to
tell them
drive.
what they want to hear.
Just drive,
Give
man.
them medicine,
Drivers,
man.
get
I'm
it
trying to
straight.
find. I'm trying to find these women out here who being introspective and thinking like you and saying, "Dear future husband, let me get my mind right." Because I feel like the push is really for, especially for black men, is because they see so much of the negative. Now we all gotta come up. It's like, yo, you gotta come up too. Like
Right.
you talk about meeting
Wow.
halfway. Like, yo, you gotta do your part too.
That's right.
Because it
That's
ain't
right.
just black men or men that's
That's
broke
right.
out here.
That's right.
Like
That's right.
y'all broke too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't-
I got one at home.
That's
Don't
right.
scapegoat us.
We both broke and fixing together, and it works because we're fixing together.
Yeah,
you
it's
know
a
what I'm
collective
saying?
movement, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
when you
Yeah.
said me halfway, and again, I didn't get to read the whole book, but that makes me more interested
Yes.
because you're talking about both sides
Right.
doing it. You know, because there's a lot of dudes, like, I've sat in places, I've gone, I'm a speaker, and I go and stand on platforms, and I've heard dudes to sell books just pander. When I'm like, bro, there's no way you feel like that. Let me
Right.
give you all and offer
Right.
you nothing. I mean, that's
Right.
not true. Like,
Yeah.
I can't, don't sell me on that. I can't,
Yeah.
I can't maintain that.
And that was one of the things that when I first started writing on like social media back in like 2005, 2006, I said, I don't want to sound like anybody else.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to sell dreams.
You even
and
said
just,
that, though.
Yeah.
You said that, yeah.
And that kept me, for a while, I had to check myself. It's like, let me write to make sure I don't sound like nobody else. Let me stop, make sure I don't read nobody else. Like, I want both of us to be working.
Yeah.
So in the chapters, it's both of us working. Like, let's have a conversation. So in the perspective, you and your wife, you and your significant other, or just by yourself, y'all can work on that together. Like, y'all can respond to each other and write to each other.
That's important.
Well, based on the book, and from your personal experiences, what was the hardest part to write?
I think the chapter that says I've never been married, but I had several divorces.
I'm glad that was because I wanted to ask you about that chapter. What was hard about it? What brought that chapter on?
Because you think about relationships, you think about how you invest your time, your heart, your mind, money, everything into that relationship, and it fails. So the difference between the divorce, I mean, I know there's legal differences, there's maybe some financial differences, but sometimes that happens without a marriage.
Right.
Like people
Emotional
buying
difference.
houses,
That's
people
true.
doing that, you know, you shacking up, you living together,
having
all
dogs
that type of
and-
stuff. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're having kids, but you guys are just breaking up. So you realize like the effect and the trauma and everything that you've been through when you break up in that relationship, and people go into depression.
Yeah.
And depression doesn't always look like you sad. Depression goes like you might get promiscuous.
Yeah.
You might turn into substance abuse. You might do all these other things. So really checking yourself. So I've never been married, but I've had the effects of divorces.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
So-
Go ahead.
Mimi,
yeah.
please respond to Mimi.
Yeah. Say
Well, there are many books, magazines, brochures, and scriptures that people only use for the women. It's bombarded on us every day.
Well,
That's all-
I agree.
That's
so
cool. That's how she
and that's
feels.
why
But it might be
mute,
necessary.
mute that comment though.
But-
I just
But that, I mean,
ahead.
that was the whole thing. That's why I said it's a man's guide. Like I'm talking to the
you
fellow
go. There you
man. So it's a man guide and a woman's reference. Like you can reference it, but it's a man's guide.
I like
So
that.
it's really we checking ourselves and saying like, all right, am I operating the same way? Look, do I really want a wife right now? Can I be honest with myself?
You really
like,
are.
do I
Real
really
talk.
want a
Dude,
wife? I
that
just
is
want to
real
play the
talk.
field. Then be honest
Yeah.
about that and have the conversation with the person that you're dealing with or the people that you're dealing with. It's like I'm not looking for this. At least you're honest with yourself.
Speaking of playing the field, what is your perspective on sex as dealing with your future wife? Going into that situation, when do you think sex is appropriate, or do you think that sex can be more of a harm as as you're walking, as you're trying to get to the real person and really understanding? Do you think that sex can be dangerous in that situation?
It can be. It can be. I've been on all sides of that. I've been on the wait side where I'm going to wait, and me and my significant other, like, we're going to wait until we get married. We failed. I've been on the side where we're going to wait until we get married. We didn't fail, but the relationship didn't work out.
Wow.
So
Dang,
it's-
you really was mad
so,
then, man.
Right. So, and then I see
probably
couples.
blew up the world.
I've seen about maybe 200 couples that come through my practice, and we work together on different things. So I've seen pretty much every perspective on that. So it's really a personal preference. I say that if biblically, if you want to wait, then choose to wait. You also got to put up the boundaries and everything because it's a setup. You can walk around and y'all be doing all types of stuff and
Having Netflix movie time.
Yeah, don't trust yourself. Don't trust
Walking in
yourself in that
out.
space because
Where I own it.
you
booty
wake up like,
shorts.
why did we just do that?
Yeah, for real.
And then it changes the dynamics
changes
of
the dynamic,
because people
you're
walking
right.
around with guilt,
Yes.
resentment. It was like I can't believe I did that. Then that's impacting the way you guys operate
That's
within the
true,
relationship.
man. It's shame.
They
at
don't
that
really,
point.
yeah,
It's
they
shame
don't
because you said
understand.
we're gonna keep our word, and then dang, can I? What does this mean after we get married?
Right.
We'll be able to keep
Right.
boundaries and everything. So, yeah.
And then people who can't be honest with themselves, they'll blame the other person. It's like, oh, it's your fault that we did that. And
this
then
is from a therapist, y'all.
This is so many different levels to it.
Yeah.
So I got a question then.
Go ahead.
So has the recipient of the book, have you found her yet? Or does she got the book?
I don't know. We'll see.
Hey!
Time will tell.
I'm gonna tell you what. You talking like this? You gonna have to have some people around you, some filter, some people holding people off because they're like, I gotta hide.
Well, you know what? I had some
need to talk to
experiences
him.
when I first started my blog. I wrote maybe 30 articles, Dear Future Wife, and I had somebody go and respond to every single article,
Goodness
write a
gracious.
letter
Oh,
back
really?
to every single
Really?
one.
Now that's
Yeah.
Now that's,
Oh, that
She
was
must have had a nice personality.
I don't know. I ain't read
Nah,
it.
that's like that. That's
Yeah.
like that whole Roxanne Shante and then somebody.
Yeah.
Just keep going back. They try to get a book
little
deal
back and
too.
forth. Like you trying to ride my coattail.
She be like this every time I do something. Man, girl, shut up.
wow.
He's like this. He be like this. Log off.
Oh man, his name is I'm saying Bashea. How do I say it? Bashea?
Bashea, yeah,
It's
Bashea.
Bashea Williams, the author of Dear Future Wife, A Man's Guide and a Woman's Reference to Healthy Relationships. Give it up for him.
Where
Man.
can we find the book?
Yes, y'all gotta check him out. I know it's on Kindle. That's how I got to read the
Yeah,
part.
it's
I
on
did.
Kindle, it's on Amazon, it's on my website. If you want me to sign it, you can go to BasheaWilliams.com, go under the shop Bashea, I'll sign it, I'll send it to you. But like I said, Amazon, the digital copy, the physical copy, it's on Books A Million, it's on iBooks, it's pretty much everywhere.
And where you
So,
gonna be? What you got coming up soon? What can people, if they want to come see you, if they want to watch
Barnes
you?
and Noble,
Because
yeah.
I see you been on every TV.
I know, man.
been on
All the logos
networks.
on there.
We
Right.
need your PR people around here.
Whoa.
I'm about to
Where's
do
our PR people? I have not.
What?
I ain't been on enough stations yet.
Right.
What?
You better start working.
Let's get it
Wow.
together.
Or you gonna be walking.
Wow.
I'm doing Love Jones Cafe next week. I don't know if am I allowed to say what I'm doing? Okay.
Please.
The week after that, well, I had to check.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm about to be on Sister Circle in 2 weeks.
heard about that?
in a month.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I'm speaking at my alma mater, my alumni, East Tennessee State, about my book. And I think December I'm chilling, but next year I got a whole bunch of stuff lined up.
Oh, man, already
Well,
ready to
man,
roll.
man,
Yeah.
put us in there. You
Definitely,
gotta come
definitely.
back.
You right around the corner.
Matter of fact, around Valentine's Day, because we're planning an event.
Okay.
And,
Let's do it.
It'll be cool to have you. You want to come to the event? You want to come on the show? This is like, if
Let's
you
do
got some
both.
time in February,
Yeah.
let's work this out, man. Hey,
Someone asked is there an audible book? Is there
I'm working.
an-
I got to do it by the end of the year. Be done.
Please,
He's working
do
on that,
yo,
Maurice.
Yo, I'm,
Hey, Mo.
I'm on Audible hard.
Mo, y'all need to stop that.
Yo, I'm on
What's
Audible.
wrong with audible books,
Stop
man?
that audible
Sometimes
book.
people
Yo,
don't like to read.
I'm on Audible every day.
That's what I'm saying. You
Nah.
better stop.
We in the cardboard and
Y'all
we
better
You
read
can
it.
do two things at once. I'm in the
What?
gym and listening to a book at the same time.
You listen to love books and stuff?
I listen to whatever is going to help me with
How
this.
you pumping hard with that on in your
Hey,
ears?
there
I
you
pump
go.
hard with love.
No, go ahead. Man.
Oh, we gotta go, man. I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight, everybody who commented and shared. I want to thank Bashea Williams.
Thank
Give it
y'all
up
for having
him.
me. I appreciate
Hey, look,
it, man.
you're supposed to give it up for him. What y'all
Yeah,
doing?
we was waiting on you.
I was waiting on you. I said give it up for him.
Yeah.
Get the book. Go get the
Hey,
book.
go get the book. It's right here. Let me hold that
Now
up.
we gonna
Go
say
get the book. Here's the book. That's it. There it is. There's the book. You see it. Go check him out.
Yeah.
There he is on the back.
Get
Go
one for my wife.
Go check him.
You gonna get this for your wife? Of course. They can always learn
He
something.
told you it again. Amazon, everywhere else, books are sold. Go check the man out. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, we bring this show to you because you know we
Love that. Yeah.
Holla. That was good, man.